University for today's men's basketball game featuring the University of Mary Washington Eagles and your Southern Virginia University Knights. Today's game is sponsored by River Crossing Apartments. Southern Virginia University thanks you for your support of the student athletes and coaches participating in this evening's contest. The NCAA and USA South Athletic Conference promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, or sexist comments or intimidating actions directed at coaches, players, officials, or any other team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal. Also, the consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages and tobacco use is strictly prohibited. Please stay away from the playing area and team bench areas. Thank you for your cooperation. In accordance with tradition at Southern Virginia University, we will begin with a word of prayer, which will be offered by Brig Hoots, head coach of our men's wrestling program.
Our dear Father in heaven, we are grateful for this day, grateful for the opportunity to compete today. We pray that the athletes competing today will be safe, that we can have good competition, that the game will go well, and that all who participate will be free from harm. We love thee, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Now, if you will all please rise and face the flag for the playing of our nation's national anthem. Thank you. And now, for your starting lineups. Starting this evening for the Eagles, at guard, senior number 3, Zach Blue.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's broadcasting for another presentation of Southern Virginia University Athletics here in Knight Arena in beautiful Buena Vista, Virginia. Tonight's men's basketball contest is between the Eagles of Mary Washington and your Knights of Southern Virginia. I'm Dawson Weidrich, and joining me for the first half of this contest is my good friend here, Quinn Meyer, for what should be what I call a prove-yourself game for the Knights of Southern Virginia. Great to have you here, Quinn.
Good to be here, Dawson. But, you said it best. University of Mary Washington, really solid team. We were looking at the stats beforehand. One of the best teams in the country, and they're trying to build off the great success they had in reaching the second round of the NCAA tournament last year.
Absolutely a fantastic and solid team, and the starters for them are Zach Blue, Cameron McRaby, Greg Rowson, Matthias Prock, and Daniel Peterson. And, we're talking, Quinn, before the game that every single one of their starters is a senior. And, with an experience like that, when you have all starters as seniors, that's going to pay big dividends for them. And for Southern Virginia on the other side, you have Koa Baker, DJ Green, Malachi Olson, Alex Weiland, and Tyler Karchner, where Southern Virginia has one senior on their roster, and he's one of their starters, of course, being Kai Olson. Now, for me, when I'm looking at this, when you have a starting five that's full of seniors with Mary Washington, and you look at Southern Virginia with one senior in their entire roster, it's one of those situations where you kind of have to see how much experience is going to play a factor in this one. You have a lot of freshmen playing big roles for you so far if you're Southern Virginia. And again, against a team that, like you said, went really far into the tournament last year, 29 overall record. Should be really fascinating to see. We talked before how their stats aren't very different so far this year. Both teams similar win-loss record. Southern Virginia 3-3. They started off 2-0, have kind of been rocky ever since. And then Mary Washington, they're 4-2. They start off with a loss, but then tallied 3 wins in a row. And so for them, it's going to be interesting to see how the statistics leading into this factor into it, as well as just the overall experience. And if this game is a close one, that experience for Mary Washington might tip them over the edge to victory.
Yeah, exactly. And this, and you said it beforehand, this will be a great learning experience for this squad. The good thing for the Knights is, I think, from what I've seen so far from our squad is, there's not as much of experience on our side of the ball as Mary Washington, but they play big and they play like they're experienced. So I'm excited to see how they do against a really solid squad.
Absolutely. Got Karchner going up against number 15, Greg Rousen, coming into this game averaging 15.5 points per game. And I mentioned Karchner. He's one of those guys that has played big so far in the early goings this year for Southern Virginia. One of the leading scorers for the team. And, last year he came in and had a lot of relief minutes, had some games where he contributed scoring-wise, some games where he was really quiet. But so far, really stepping up to the plate and delivering basically as much as they've needed him to so far.
Yeah, and I think another key to this game, we mentioned how Greg Rousen, he's going to be an absolute unit, especially going down the middle with his size. Malachi Olson and Tyler Karchner, they're going to have to stay out of foul trouble because we know the Knights don't have too much depth. And since they're going to have their hands full with Rousen, they can't afford to foul out early in this contest.
And speaking of Rousen, he was able to knock down 2 free throws for the first points of the game. An early foul for Kyle Olson, like you mentioned, one to stay out of foul trouble. Knights trying to establish themselves on offense. Kyle Olson looking to go baseline. He is fouled on the floor.
And on the other side of things, if you can get Rousen in the foul trouble himself, that could really go a long way.
It absolutely will, because you and I were talking before the game how both Rousen and Peterson, they lead this team in rebounds. They got an offensive foul here on Karchner, trying to create some space for himself, I guess maybe extending his arm too much for the ref's liking. So coming down the floor is number 5, Cameron McCravey, senior guard from Charlotte, North Carolina. Some good communication here from Southern Virginia's defense so far. Good kick out for 3. That's up and good for number 21, Matthias Prock, the senior guard from McLean, Virginia.
Yeah, that's really good penetration there from Zach Blue. He's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in the C2C from 2023, but good offensive skills as well.
And you mentioned something else to me, Quinn, before this game started, as entry pass here to Olson. Fades away, up and good for Kai Olson. Before I get to the point I was about to make, Kai Olson's shot, I always got to compliment it. It's so pretty. He goes up, hesitates for a split second, so the defender's on the way down trying to block it. But going back to the topic of conferences, these are 2 former conference opponents. They were in the same conference just a couple of years ago, now seeing each other for the first time since 2020.
Yeah, and they've obviously played each other a lot. Typically, Mary Washington, a traditional powerhouse in athletics, have had the upper hand, but these programs are in 2 very different situations, I'd say, than they were formerly in the same conference.
Absolutely. Neither of these teams having the same players from those rosters. Kick out to DJ Green. That 3 no good. 5-2 stands the score for the Eagles. And a foul here.
Yeah, and that's 2 on Tyler already, so already in a bit of foul trouble just 2 minutes into this half.
I believe we saw number 24, Daniel Peterson, hit the floor, and so real early we're going to have number 5, Luke DeVore, come in and relieve Tyler Karchner of his duties for the time being. And Luke DeVore was one of those guys that we were talking about before the game, Quinn, that really has also provided quality minutes. A travel is called on number 3, Zach Blue. But DeVore's come in, played really great defense, hit a couple of outside shots as well. Again, not a ton of minutes, but doing a decent amount for what's required of him.
Yeah, he doesn't want to break him in too strongly. He's played some shelter minutes, but when he's been in the game, he's provided very good relief minutes. It's been a very valuable piece to this Knights roster so far.
Alex Weiland was open for a brief moment at the 3-point line, was clapping for it. DeVore trying to get to the corner to Koa Baker, knocked out of bounds by number 3, Zach Blue. And Zach Blue, before the game in warm-ups, Zach Blue stands at 6'1", not necessarily the tallest of the bunch, but you and I were seeing how easily he can elevate. He's got some hops.
Oh, yeah, he was dunking it with ease, both hands on the rim, and, his arms were bent too, so he wasn't have to reach at all for those dunks.
And that really helped him get the ball deflected, and Koa Baker going up. 2 attempts at the rim, no good. DeVore going after it. It was knocked out of bounds off the knee of number 12, Trey Pittman.
That's good hustle there by Luke, making his presence known, just subbed into the game for Tyler Karchner.
And that's exactly the type of hustle plays that you need in order to contend with a quality team like Mary Washington. So not only did the Knights get to reset the shot clock, they were able to get the ball back and now have a chance for a second opportunity, extra possession, and we love to have those. Weiland puts up a 3, just short, rebounded that time by Blue.
And he's someone before the game, Dawson, you mentioned we'd like to see him get going from outside the arc.
Good kick out here. Green on defense. The Knights doing a great job at pressuring on ball. Driving through the pressure. That's an offensive foul on Trey Pittman. Great job by Kai Olsen taking that charge.
Yeah, and that's a good safe play to make too, because he got there in plenty of time. Didn't make it a tough call for the ref to make.
And so far the Knights defensively doing a great job at creating issues for Mary Washington. Got a substitute for the Eagles, and number 4, Dorian Davis.
And, he's another guy who's an important part to this roster. He's the reigning Rookie of the Year in the Coast to Coast Conference. So when you have him coming off your bench, you're at a loaded roster.
Oh, you absolutely do. Trying to pass it on the baseline. It's knocked out of bounds. Got another substitution in number 10, Caden Bates, freshman guard from Bristol, Virginia. By far the youngest player to take the court for the Eagles so far tonight. Inbounded to Green. An entry pass to Olsen. Good pump
nice
fake through. Up strong, rattles in. Good shot from Olsen. So far, he's the only one of the Knights roster to have scored.
Yeah, we talked about Kai. Got off to a little bit of a slow start during the season, especially in that first game against Eastern Mennonite, but he's rounded into form really nicely here in the first quarter of the season.
He's one of those players that as the season progresses, he just gets better and better and more comfortable. And you'll love to see that, even in the early goings of the season, being the 7th game of the year. DeVore for the rebound.
Good defense, staying up high.
DJ Green doing a great job of dribbling it out, getting things set up. Good
nice pass.
Reverse layup for the reigning Rookie of the Year. For the USA South. And Baker's one of those guys that he gets things done. And exactly like, he cuts to the basket, getting the pass, going inside. Usually does a great job of drawing the foul, getting to the free throw line. Once again, some solid defense from Southern Virginia. Hook shot up and good that time for Daniel Peterson.
Yeah, that time Kai wasn't able to get his hands up in time, but just a really nice looking shot from Peterson.
And Peterson standing at 6'7". I mean, that's an intimidating force to try to defend, especially when he has the hook shot like that. Olsen goes up strong and makes it. As defender number 10, Caden Bates, was rushing over, trying to make up for losing track of him. And his momentum carried him into Baker.
Yeah, just a bit of a sloppy play there by Mary Washington, but, good heads-up play by Koa to just put it up, in that situation to try and get the and one, and he did.
He absolutely did, and now the Knights taking their first lead of the night, 8-7 so far in the early goings of this first half. And again, we mentioned earlier how this is a sort of prove what you can do type of game. And right now, looking at the rosters, we talked about the experience that Mary Washington has, and so far I am very happy with what I'm seeing from Southern Virginia.
Well, Southern Virginia looks like they're the experienced team, like they're up for the task, and basically the opposite thing has happened today than we saw in the women's game when also Southern Virginia and Mary Washington faced off yesterday. Our women's squad got off to a very, very slow start, was able to play them pretty even the rest of the way, but our men getting off to a really nice start and just what they wanted.
Absolutely, and again, just really excited for what we're seeing so far. Although with Mary Washington, one thing that I've really liked from them is great ball movement. Nobody holds the ball longer than 2 seconds.
Exactly.
And that's what every great coach wants. You want the ball moved really quickly so you can keep the defense on their heels, make sure you get some good passes inside. Unfortunately for Mary Washington, the Knights defense has just been very stout so far. We've got a substitution for the Knights right now with number 3, Phil Harris, freshman guard from Draper, Utah. Baker will go to the free throw line and shoot the and one.
And it's a good point to mention, Dawson, about their ball movement because, that it forces the defenders to be on time and respond to those cuts almost perfectly. And fortunately for the Knights, they've done a really, really good job responding so far.
They absolutely have, and the free throw is good for Baker, and Baker has been astounding from the free throw line, along with the rest of this Knights team, shooting 80.2% from the free throw line going into today's game, which is just phenomenal, especially this early in the season.
It's a good switch there.
Driving inside, floater up,
good
no
defense.
Good. Once again, good defense, rebounded by Baker. Going up against 2 Eagles to grab that one.
Man, Luke hasn't scored, but I think that was 2 consecutive blocks right under the basket. Great defense so far by Luke.
Taken away that time by number 5, Cameron McRavy. That time, Kai Olsen just getting doubled and not seeing the defender come to him. Good ball movement once again for the Eagles. The 3 is up, no good. Once again, rebounded by Baker. Double to the top of the key.
Hey, Luke's got to go 5.
Green for 3. That's up, no good. Brought down eventually by Dorian Davis. Eagles looking to take back the lead or tie it up at 9 apiece. Driving inside. Kick out for 3. That's up and good for Davis.
Shot.
And that's with Green in his face.
Yeah, it was a good challenge. Get a hand in his face. You don't have to block it. Just get a hand in his face and make it that much more difficult for him to make the shot. Just a really nice knockdown.
So the Eagles take back the lead now. 10-9 is the score. Here's Olsen from the top of the key. Off the front of the rim, no good. Brought down by Davis. And that's an awkward shot to shoot it from right between the top of the key and the three-point line. Very few players actually practice from that exact range, and so it makes an awkward adjustment on the shot. Drilling inside, up, no good, and fouled on the shot, they're going to say. It is on Baker. And so that'll send number 15, Greg Rowson, to the line.
Greg Rowson to the line, shooting 2.
That's one of those instances where, Rowson was just barely able to get the step. Other opportunities, the Knights have done a really nice job of moving their feet to avoid any possible foul as well, not just using their arms.
And that's one of those things where as the game goes on, are they going to be able to keep up that effort? Because, again, defense is the most exhausting thing you will do in any sport. And so as the game goes on, as you get deeper into the first half and into the second half, will you start to see the Knights defense start to crumble a little bit, or will you see that continue to be the case as they substitute in guys who can move their feet? Free throw good for Rowson. Pass inside to Baker.
Nice pass.
And wide open on that cut was Cole Baker. Great look there from DeVore.
That's the second time in the last few minutes that Coe's been wide open. Good hands there by the defender.
And I believe both were assists from DeVore. So great court vision from the freshman.
Yeah, Koa making good cuts, Luke making some really nice passes down low. And this is exactly what you want if you're Southern Virginia. You don't want to, let this get out of hand early on and hope for a comeback. On these good teams, you got to get out front early.
What a pass inside, up strong, missed the shot, but fouled is Devin Johnson. The pass from number 21, Matthias Prock. He saw the Knight defender coming up passed real quick on the right side, over the shoulder of the defender who didn't even know the ball was going his way. Just a fantastic vision there. And so we'll see Johnson, sophomore from Fredericksburg, Virginia, missed the free throw. That is the first missed free throw for the Eagles. Second one is up and good. And just like Southern Virginia, Mary Washington holds themselves to a high standard free throw shooting wise, coming into this game shooting 71.8%. Seeing DJ Green trying to post up in the paint there. DeVore wide open in the paint, up and in. There's some rotations happening down low that the Eagles are just not keeping track of, and the Knights are taking full advantage of.
Yeah, again, just tons of movement down there. It's making the Eagles defenders have to move their feet and switch really nicely, and it's, you know, throwing them off a little bit. Nice pass there by Rowson.
That was absolutely fantastic. You saw the double team, and then you saw, of course, Johnson cutting into the paint and extending the lead once again. Here's Weiland. Tipped by Rowson.
Let's not forget, all of this is happening. They're staying in there with Kartzner on the bench for the past, 7-8 minutes.
And fast break layup that time for Matthias Prock after the pass was intercepted. A rare sloppy pass for Southern Virginia so far. They've kept it pretty clean up to this point. Another tipped pass. Baker for three. Off the left side, no good, brought down by Johnson. Bring it down is Blue. This possession could be kind of a turning point for Southern Virginia. Will they stop them here, or will they give up more points and allow them to extend the lead as Johnson is fouled by DeVore? I'm actually going to say that was on DJ Green. Got some substitutions for both sides. You got number 24, Daniel Peterson, coming in. And for Southern Virginia, we will see Sam Jex and Kai Olson come back onto the floor as well. And Sam Jex, we have not seen him in a home game so far this year, was dealing with some injury issues in the early goings. But he's a player that provides a lot of great energy, has a solid outside shot, and he's also very quick on his feet. So I'm assuming that, Coach Bevel is thinking, hey, we need defenders in there fresh, moving their feet defensively like you mentioned, Quinn. Let's see if Sam Jex can provide that relief.
Yeah, it'll be important to have him back and healthy to add to that depth that, has been solid, but they don't have too much of it. So that's really important for the Knights this year.
And one of the few returning players on this roster, one of the three returning players in this roster. They had 13 newcomers this year. And so, again, we talk about the difference in as far as experience goes between these two rosters, and that just paints the whole picture right there. But again, right now the Knights sitting at a 4-point deficit to the Eagles of Mary Washington, looking to fight back. I believe it is Johnson who will have 2 free throws when we get back to the floor. But real quick, want to give a shout out to the refs here. We got Williams, Dupree, and Murphy on the floor, keeping these civil so far. And at the same time, much like the women's game yesterday, the refs letting the players play, getting a little physical. They're calling the fouls when they need to. So far, been a very well-called game. Again, it's the early going. Still time to mess up, knock on wood, but yeah, so far, a good job so far from the refs.
Yeah, it just adds to the entertainment of the game to, obviously, call foul when it's a foul, but, letting these guys play.
First free throw from Johnson is good. The Eagles now 6 for 7 from the free throw line. The Knights only attempting 1 free throw so far. And that's a big thing, too, getting to the free throw line. I feel like that's even more of an emphasis in men's basketball than women's, just barely. But I feel like the team that gets the free throw line the most in men's basketball is basically 99.9% guaranteed to be the victorious.
And the Knights have done a pretty good job this season, all 6 games, getting to the line. The games they've gone to the line the least are the games that they lost.
Yeah. So the math checks out. I like that kind of simple math. Baker, the high post, gets it back out to Harris. Shot clock at 10. And inside to Baker.
Yes, the mismatch he wants, I think.
Trying to go baseline to Jackson, taken away by Rowson.
Yeah, much better defensive stand there by the Eagles. Good hands.
Green able to pick it up, dribbling through a defender's legs. He's going to dump it off to Olsen, goes up and draws the foul from Blue. What a move from DJ Green.
Yeah, it looked like he's dead in the water. There are two Eagles defenders right in front and right behind him. They're really slick to go between the legs and get on the fast break.
If only his first name was Jake, I'd be calling him Jake the Snake right now with how smooth and slithery he was in that situation. And Olsen able to knock down the first free throw. We'll see Luke DeVore come in and relieve Cole Baker for the time being. Olsen's second free throw rattles in and good. Knights getting some much needed points. And points off turnovers, that being a big thing, as the Knights need to force more turnovers and then, of course, capitalize on those opportunities. Three-pointer here, up, no good, rebounded by DeVore. Trying to advance in the head.
Yeah, you got to take your time in those situations.
Mid-range jumper, no good, rebounded by Olsen. And like you said, trying to make something happen and go faster than maybe your brain can possibly go. That's a very tempting thing as a basketball player.
Yes.
Good entry pass to Olsen, not able to handle as it was tipped by Rowson. Advanced ahead to Davis. Taken away by the Knights. There's Green. Hesitation move. Oh,
nice
scoop under. There was no panic on DJ Green's face whatsoever. He knew exactly what he wanted to do.
Yeah, he kind of had his left arm locked up because of the sidestep that he made, but no problem with the right hand scooping it up and in.
Up, no good. Foul on the way up is Davis. Curious to see. They're going to call that on Green. I believe that's his second. And so that'll send Dorian Davis to the line. Indeed, that will be Green's second foul. But that previous play, the Knights had reduced the lead to 2 points. First free throw is up and good. And Dorian Davis having a interesting free throw routine. He starts off a little behind the free throw line, gets the ball, steps up to it, kind of does a little wiggle. Not really sure exactly what to call it. We'll call it the free throw boogie. But hey, it worked for the first one. Second one is up and good.
Yeah, I mean, if you go 2 for 2, something's got to be working.
Yeah.
And I assume he's been doing that for most of his college career and his whole life.
I mean, you can't really argue with the results there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you got KD's got his little shimmy with the shoulders before he shoots.
You got Phil Harris here working against the defender. Great work there from McCravey, causing some pressure for Harris.
He's got a mismatch down low. Co's got it.
Up strong with the defenders.
Nice.
All over
finish.
him. McCravey came down and kind of swatted at the ball, but Baker able to finish strong.
Nice move.
Fantastic job there from Blue.
Yeah, that's Zach Blue. He's good defensively, but he's got some really nice, slick skills on offense. But it's interesting. Mary Washington's decided to go with the matchup of Blue on Cole Baker. Blue, maybe their best defender, obviously, defensive player there in the C2C, but a big size disadvantage there for Zach Blue.
Shot clock winding down. Olsen gets it stripped away, and quick handoff there to McCravey. Up to Rowson, goes up strong, not able to knock it down. We'll see who they will call it on. They're going to call it on Jex. Jex, the junior from Layton, Utah. We'll have a media timeout here before the free throw attempts for Rowson. Rowson's already gotten to the free throw line a couple of times, and one thing that we've noticed so far is that every time the Knights have had a successful play, whether it be a good pass up ahead for a layup or a solid shot, the Eagles respond right back.
They do.
They do a great job of making sure they get the ball, move up the floor quickly, don't let the Knights kind of sit in their momentum for any long period of time.
Yeah, and part of it is, you got to have some, quickness to your game. In the era of the shot clock, ball movement's a premium, moving the ball quickly. You also got to be able to, get on the fast break quickly. And I think after a couple buckets, after some turnovers from the Knights, Mary Washington has been able to do that. and it's allowed them to keep this 4-point lead.
Absolutely. We want to remind you that this presentation of Knights Athletics is brought to you by our official sponsor, River Crossing Apartments. They're sponsoring today's game, and we would like to thank today's game sponsor, River Crossing Apartments. And if you want independent living in a great and wholesome environment, 1 block from campus here at Southern Virginia University, contact River Crossing Apartments at rivercrossingva.com. We appreciate your support, River Crossing Apartments. And so, again, when you experience a team like this, you know how to respond right back. You know how to take the wind out of the other team's sails, so to speak. And again, so far the Eagles have done just that. And so that begs the question is, if you're the team who's scoring points where the team's responding right back, you kind of have to respond to their response, for lack of a better way of explaining it. First free throw from Rowson, no good. Rare missed free throw from him. And we'll see Alex Weiland get back onto the floor for Southern Virginia. Second free throw up and good. We got another substitution for the Eagles in number 11, Devin Johnson. Johnson has 5 points so far. He's tied with both Matthias Prock and Greg Rowson and Dorian Davis. All those players having 5 points apiece. For Southern Virginia, leading the way is Koa Baker with 9 points so far. And Olsen, who has the ball now, second on the team in scoring with 6 points at the moment. Weiland for 3. Off the back of the rim, no good. Zach Blue.
Yeah, those are the shots that the Knights are going to want to have to fall if they're going to stay in this one. Keep it close.
The 3 is up and good that time.
You know they're going to hit theirs.
Yeah, Daniel Peterson able to knock it down with ease. So now an 8-point lead for the Eagles. So they're keeping Kai Olsen at the high post here. Trying to set screens, and here's Harris. Olsen for 3. Up, rattles out, no good. DeVore fighting for the rebound, eventually brought down by number 13, Drew Rowson.
And you can hear coach from the bench saying, you know, we got open shots, we don't make them, they make theirs. So that's going to be a big difference here.
Kick out to the corner. Baker falling down on the defense. Johnson trying to back down. Olsen, he's rejected. Not really able to see if it was DeVore or Olsen who got his hand on it. They're going to call foul here on DeVore. That's DeVore's second foul. Johnson's had a couple of trips to the free throw line so far. The first end of the 1-on-1 is no good, brought down by DeVore. Great job maintaining possession by the freshman.
Yeah, Johnson's a guy they've been going to quite a bit down low, and he's had some success so far early in this one.
Doing a great job bringing down rebounds against a team that has really done a great job themselves in that department. Then I'll travel here on Harris. His pivot foot had slipped a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like on that really beautiful crossover by Alex Wine that Kai Olsen had a step, and you know that just comes down to making the decision quicker to feed it through the middle, and so Kai can get that easy bucket.
Sam Jex will come onto the floor in place of Harris. Drilling baseline. That time is Blue kicking out top of the key. Here's Davis for 3. Off the back of the rim, no good. Brought down once again by DeVore. Advance ahead to Weiland. What a play from DeVore. Quickly getting rid of it. Good ball movement here from Southern Virginia. Travel here from Baker. His hesitation step. He put up a wild shot at the end of it. But he basically had started a Euro step before he had taken a dribble. So now the ball will go to the Eagles. Rowson kick out to Johnson. Similar thing with Baker. Took an extra step before he made his move. Got some more substitutions for Mary Washington. We got Greg Rowson as well as Matthias Prock.
Yeah, good job from the Eagles offensively. They're spreading the well, 5 guys with 5 points.
They absolutely have, and it's just absolutely incredible to see. Just showing again the depth of this roster. DeVore for 3, up off the back of the rim, no good. The Knights came into this game shooting 27.7% from the three-point line. Not necessarily what you want. I mean, Mary Washington's percentage throughout the year so far has not been that great either, about 29.8%. Mary Washington's been able to knock down a couple of threes so far tonight. Dribbling Rowson going up with a crazy shot, trying to spin it in. Brought down by DeVore once again. Weiland drooling in, wisely getting rid of it. Up and he was going to pass it away. Went through the defenders, up with the floater.
Yeah, fortunately he still had space down the middle when he turned back towards the basket, but a good floater there to get himself going offensively.
Indeed, his first points of the game. We're continuing to see solid defense on the perimeter here. Trying to enter the ball into the paint with number 13, Drew Rowson. And that's Sam Jex on the foul there. And that's Jex's second foul.
Yeah, and you know, you don't realize that at first, but 10 team fouls to 14 fouls. In the first half, you won't be affected. But down the stretch, when you don't have as much depth, you got to be careful there so your top guys don't get fouled out.
We got a substitution for Southern Virginia. Seeing the floor for the first time tonight, number 4, Everett Leifson. Another freshman who's provided some good minutes so far and knocked down a couple of triples. Second free throw is up. And 2 substitutions for the Eagles, including Dorian Davis, as well as Trey Pittman.
And number 12, Trey Pittman.
Knights with the ball, down by 8. Jex for 3 from the corner. Front of the rim, no good. Eventually brought down by Peterson.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the shot that the Knights were looking for. But, at some point you got to start hitting your threes, because if Mary Washington's going to hit yours, you're not going to find your way back into this one.
That's very true, and it's the type of shot that Jex is capable of hitting, but like you said, with a defender in your face like that in the corner, that's not necessarily the high-quality shot you want. Here's the 3, up, no good, rebounded by Baker. Baker now has 5, trying to advance to Leifson, and a turnover. That's the second time we've seen that from Southern Virginia, trying to move the ball too fast up the floor. Davis, comfortable space for a 3, up, no good, rebounded by Weiland. The Knights have done a great job on the defensive board so far tonight. Baker, pump fake, dribbling in, up with the left hand, no good.
Good rebound.
Going up strong with it, gets fouled, and he'll go to the line.
And that's what, despite the great size that University of Mary Washington has, you noticed before the game, Dawson, that, their rebounds after Peterson and Rowson, it kind of drops off a little bit.
Right.
And so that's one thing that the Knights, I think, have done a really good job so far, mostly defensively, but they're a good example of offensive rebounding by Kai Olsen.
Yeah, and you're referring to the statistics here where Greg Rowson averages 8 rebounds a game and Daniel Peterson about 7.2 rebounds a game. And the next one behind them is about 3.7, 3.6. And so, again, like you just mentioned, it shows you that if you as a defense, or an offense for that matter, key on those 2 guys, you have a better chance of getting the rebound with everyone else on your roster, because I feel like so far this year the Knights have done a good job of just prioritizing rebounds in general. You see everybody crashing to the basket, and rebounds is one of those things where, like, as a coach, you love to have players that can hit shots from anywhere.
Yeah.
But one thing that makes you happy more than anything, especially more old school coaches, is fighting for rebounds.
Absolutely.
Because you know that your players are fighters doing that.
And one thing that that drives me nuts when I watch NBA, any level of basketball really, I see these teams, they send it out to the 3-point line. Someone takes the shot and everyone starts to drift back towards midcourt. Right. I'm thinking, go get the rebound. You're gonna give yourself another shot. Consecutive opportunities to score, which only increases your chance to score. And so, I would really love it if I was a coach to see my guys, battling for an offensive rebound as often as they can.
line.
Absolutely. One thing my coaches loved more than anything was rebounds as well as diving on the floor for a loose ball. If someone dove on the floor, sacrificed their body, they were smiling ear to ear. Olsen's first free throw rattles in good. Olsen now with 7 points so far tonight. Second free throw up off the back of the rim, no good. Elevating for the rebound that time was Dorian Davis. He seemed to kind of hang in the air forever on that one. Situation here with the shot clock. I believe it had not started in time. And so they're setting it to 27.
Scores wrong. Is it 29 all?
So inbounding it now is number 21, Matthias Prock.
Coach is joking about the score as well, trying to get that fixed too to 29 all.
Saying your score is wrong. Baseline, take beautiful layup there from Matthias Prock.
Those are tough to make too. Your body weight's going the opposite direction of the basket. Really sweet finish there by Rowson.
Just great touch on that one too, getting the proper spin on it. It's an art form, people. You know, Da Vinci is looking at this saying, this is pretty. Now Olsen being doubled, leaves in for three. Up, no good, rebounded by Baker.
Good rebound.
And he'll go to the free throw line. He's fouled on the way up. The foul will be on number 3, Zach Blue. Baker is slow to get up. Took a lot of contact on that shot. But Baker will shoot 2. And that is Blue's second foul of the game.
And speaking of rebounding, Cole Baker has 6 rebounds already with 2 minutes remaining in the first half.
And that just got him to 10 points, so only 4 rebounds away from a double-double, which again, with Cole Baker, what else is new? That's just another day in the office.
You know, that's what got him the rookie year. That's why he is, you know, definitely our most valuable player at this point in his career. And we've seen, you know, we saw the consistency from Koa last season, but now we're really seeing the next level he can take it to and really dominate games.
Now the Knights down by 7. Here's Davis going into the paint, up, rattles in and good. They're going to count the basket.
Yeah, that's one where you got to get your hands up, and instead of reaching, it's going to get the call every time.
And the foul will be called on Alex Weiland. That's his first. Davis so far with 7 points, and again, you mentioned spreading out the love here. You got Matthias Prock with 7 points, Dorian Davis with 7, and then you have now with 8 for Dorian Davis.
Yeah, and you know, you see them making subs every couple of minutes. That's a beautiful thing to see if you're a fan or a coach, is, you know, being able to utilize most of your roster. Well, they do have a bigger roster than the Knights, obviously, so that's one factor into it, but players that are just a really important part of your squad all across the board.
Now 34-24 is the score here. Baker going up with the left hand off the glass, no good, rebounded by McCravey.
There's a point in the game for the Knights. You want to keep it within 10 going into the second half to give yourself a shot.
Great defense there from Baker. Tipped up, no good. Brought down by Olsen. And a timeout called by Coach Trace Bevel of Southern Virginia. I want to remind you once again, this game is brought to you by our official game sponsor, River Crossing Apartments here in Buena Vista, Virginia. And Coach Bevel in his first year, again, we've talked about the fact that there's only 3 returning players from last year's roster. Coach Bevel coming in here, having to sort of establish a new culture, you know, bringing a lot of these new guys, a bunch of transfers and mostly freshmen, and putting together so far a team that's at the very least competed in every game they've been in, you know, made things tough for the other team. And there's a culture of competitiveness and toughness that I feel has been present in the past, but I feel like it's been more of an emphasis this year than in years past.
I agree, and that, you know, and it's even more impressive to think, you know, they went through a whole change in the coaching staff.
Right.
You know, and typically when that happens, you're trying to search for your identity, and you know, sometimes you don't find it, or you struggle to find that chemistry and unity early on. But I think these guys have really bought in to Coach Bevel's system, and it's paid off so far. They've performed really well in each of the games they've played.
Here's Cole Baker. Minute and 22 seconds left in this first half.
And they're switching to a zone, it looks like the Eagles.
Indeed they are. The Eagles are a fast enough team where they can easily use a zone and fill in the spots they need to, and nearly taken away by the Eagles. Saved by Jex. Weiland for three. Rolls out, no good. Again, he's one of those players, he can absolutely hit that. It's just getting that first one to fall can sometimes be a trial here, and a timeout called by Marcus Kahn and the Eagles of Mary Washington. Coach Kahn in his 10th season with the Eagles with a record of 354 and 200. Again, just there's a reason why this program's been successful the past couple of years, consistency in coaching and everything like that, and so Marcus Kahn is absolutely to credit for a lot of that. During this time, we also want to give a shout out to our other athletic partners, including River Crossing Apartments, Straws, Drinks and Eats, Mill Creek Orthodontics, Cornerstone Bank, Papa John's, locally owned and operated, Vinyl Cuts, Katana Sushi and Hibachi Express, The Beeve Sweet Souvenirs, and Grace Automotive. Thank you so much for supporting Southern Virginia athletics. So under a minute to go in this first half. Southern Virginia, you find yourself down by 10. But Quinn, you kind of alluded to the idea that being down by 10 going into half against a team like this, you're thinking, hey, we got this. We're competing. We're making them earn everything they've gotten. And you kind of feel like you're not exactly where you want to be, but you're in a good enough place to where you can make some small adjustments at halftime and feel like, hey, this is manageable.
Yeah, you want to keep yourself mentally in it, which regardless of the score you should going into the second half. But certainly when you're only trailing by 10 points to a team that could certainly be in contention for a high spot at the national tournament is certainly a success.
Baker got that rebound. Here's Jex for three.
There it is.
Good. Finally, Southern Virginia gets a three to fall. The first one in 12 attempts, and it goes to Jex. Brings it back within 7. 15 seconds in the half. Now 10. Going to get a good final shot. Passing inside to Rowson. Olsen with the block. Rebounded by Baker. Has to throw it up from half court. He does. Up, no good, just short. But again, if you're Southern Virginia, you are incredibly happy with how you just ended the half. You got a good shot from Sam Jex, finally getting an outside shot to fall. And then you get a stop with Olsen getting the block and rebounded by Baker. Pretty much exactly what you want to see going into the locker room.
I loved pretty much almost everything I saw out of the Knights during that half. And not to mention, one thing I meant to bring up was, after the 3-minute mark, they did that entire thing without Tyler Karchner, who at some point during the season has been their best player on the floor. And so I imagine maybe Coach Bevel could be saving him, not wanting to risk 3 fouls, so he can have Tyler in the later stages of this one in case it's close. Because right now, we got a close game. We got a really competitive game, and surely the Knights are pumped up going into the second half with a nice 3 from Sam Jex and a nice stop defensively.
Absolutely. A great game so far, but for the time being, we will hand it over to Southern Virginia's dance team here for second half festivities. We'll be back for the second half. And Quinn, great to have you here for the first half. We'll have Jade Siemens on. We'll see you in just a few moments.
attention, please, for halftime today. We have an opportunity for one of you to win this TV right here, courtesy of River Crossing Apartments. So, here's how it works. If you submitted your name into the drawing, we have all the names up here on the wheel. We're going to spin it. If your name is called, you will come down. You will have a chance to hit a layup, a free throw, and a three-pointer all in one go. If you hit it, the TV's yours. And if they miss, well, we'll give someone else a chance. So, y'all ready? All right, let's spin the wheel. Please be me, please be me, please be me. Kenzie Paulson, are you here tonight? All right, come on down. All right, does it make sense? So pretty much, you gotta make a layup, free throw, and a three-pointer all in one go. One shot each. You do it, the TV's yours. Whenever you're ready. Good try, Kenzie. All right, we're gonna run it back. Let's spin it again. Emma Kevin! I'm sorry, where's she at? Come on, Emma. Alright, Emma, layup, free throw, three-pointer, all in one go. It's all yours. Whenever you're ready. Good try, good try. All right, we're gonna do it one more time, one more chance. Spin the wheel. If it's me, I will be very happy. If not, it's okay. JT Couture, are you here tonight? Okay, he's all the way over there. Sweet. All right, JT, all to you. One shot each. Well, unfortunately, we have to stop it there. JT. Okay, never mind, go back. All right, let's spin it again. I don't know what I'm doing. They told me about this like 5 minutes ago. Regina Woodley, are you here this evening? departments for putting this TV up, right? Okay, thank you, James Proctor. Okay, this TV will be up the ground with a sponsor, the men's volleyball game in March, okay? So our content will be there, this will be there, so make sure you also go sign up. Let's go on.
And we're back for the start of the second half action between the Eagles of Mary Washington and your Southern Virginia University Knights. The score stands now 34-27 in favor of the Eagles. And for this second half, we are joined by Jade Siemens. And before we get into our analysis of the first half, we would like to thank today's game sponsor, River Crossing Apartments. If you want independent living in a great and wholesome environment, one block from campus here at Southern Virginia University, contact River Crossing Apartments at rivercrossingva.com. We appreciate your support of Southern Virginia Athletics, River Crossing Apartments. So first off, Jade, welcome to the second half of this game. And so what are some things that stood out to you in that first half?
One of the main things that stood out to me as I was watching was our we've let them get so many turnovers this game.
Yes.
So on average per game, we usually get around 13.3. This is just an average of all the games we've played. Just the first half of this game, we are at 11 turnovers.
Indeed.
So that's one thing that just struck my mind. Otherwise, working as a team, things like that.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, correlated with, good passing. And, we were talking during halftime that there was a couple possessions where Southern Virginia's passes are getting tipped left and right by Eagles defenders. And, with those turnovers, again, that's one thing you want to limit in the second half, absolutely. The one silver lining to that we were talked about is that the Knights have only allowed 6 points off of those 11 turnovers. If you're going to have turnovers, might as well make sure they don't, capitalize on that. But along with that, one thing that stood out to me personally was both the free throws and personal fouls. Of course, those are correlated. Right now, the Eagles stand at 16 free throw attempts, making 13 of them, making sure that they make Southern Virginia pay. And Southern Virginia has only attempted 7, making 6 of them. So both teams shooting a very high free throw percentage, but Southern Virginia having committed 11 personal fouls so far compared to the Eagles of Mary Washington committing only 6. And so that's one thing you got to be really concerned about. And one of the players that got into some early foul trouble was Tyler Karchner.
Yes.
He got 2 quick fouls, and we really hadn't seen him since the opening minutes of the first half.
Right. Hold on. I'm pulling up his stats. All right. Yeah. We've got a couple things we can work on. But I think overall, I noticed in the last 10 minutes of the first half, we really kind of stepped up our game. I think we were talking about this earlier. Some of the players on our team feel like pre-game jitters or like beginning of season jitters, and I think they handle it well.
Yeah.
Throughout the game, they handle it well.
Indeed, they've gotten more into the flow, and they've been able to kind of handle the pressure. Again, we talked about the lack of experience on Southern Virginia's roster compared to the plethora of experience for the Eagles with 5 seniors starting tonight as the Knights start off with the ball in this second half. And they kept it within 7 points with a last-second shot from Jackson. Blocked as Karchner by number 24, Daniel Peterson. And, I like the feed in the inside to Karchner. It's just Peterson able to make a really good play on the glass that time. And so, again, you want to get some good looks there, too. Maybe a couple pump fakes, get him up in the air, draw a foul there.
I think I heard Coach on the side saying, pump fake. Oh.
Trying to go up strong, and that's going to be a block on Karchner. So a third foul already for Tyler Karchner. Again, we did not see a lot of him in the first half because of those first 2 early fouls. And so that could end up being a big problem for Southern Virginia. The Knights were able to have Luke DeVore come in instead and play pretty well in the first half, getting several boards and able to make an impact defensively. But if you have to go without Tyler Karchner for a lot of this game, that's going to be a big problem because, he comes into this game averaging around 12 to 13 points per game. Second free throw is up and good that time for Matthias Prock. Prock now with 9 points in the game, leading the Eagles in scoring just above Dorian Davis, who is 8. Green going up strong. No foul is called and rebounded by Peterson. So back-to-back possessions where the Knights get at least somewhat decent look, a contested look, but not able to capitalize. Rebounded that time by Baker. Baker gets his 9th rebound, 1 rebound away from a double-double.
I was just about to say, Koa, one thing I noticed other than our turnover trouble is Koa. He's in there almost every single time. Whether he gets that rebound or doesn't, he's still there.
Yeah, he's fighting for it every single time. And that's, again, we mentioned earlier, that's one of the reasons why he was USA South Rookie of the Year last year, which is because of the fact that consistently night in and night out, he gets buckets, he gets boards. And, we saw a lot of great action from Malachi Olson as well, getting a couple early buckets. Great passing from the Eagles. That 3 up and good for Matthias Prock, having a quick start to this second half, already now extending it to a 12-point lead. There's DJ Green.
We were talking about earlier our leaders for both Mary Washington and SVU. And it's funny how we have some just main leaders. Koa Baker with 11 total points so far. Malachi Olson comes in second with 7. But then you look at Mary Washington's leaders, and they're very spread out. And I think that shows they're. What's the word I'm looking for?
It shows their depth of scoring ability, I believe.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting to. You're absolutely right. You know, you have Proc with 12 and Dorian Davis with 8, and 5 for Rowson, Peterson with 5. Like you said, really spreading out the rock, getting other people involved. That 3 is up off the back of the rim, no good. Eventually brought down by Zach Blue, fighting off Koa Baker for that. That would have been Baker's 10th rebound of the game. Another 3 there off the front of the rim, no good. Great effort there from Green to get it to Olsen. So the Knights needing to capitalize and get some points on the board here. Green getting the paint, floater up, a little short. And Karchner initially trying to tip it in, then Olsen, then it was tipped away from him. So again, the Knights are moving the ball and they're getting themselves in scoring situations. It's just not falling so far in the early goings of this second half.
Yeah, I agree. They do pass a lot, but a lot of those passes get a hand on them from the other team, whether or not it's turned over. You'll just get a hand on the ball because of poor passes or because of miscalculations, things like that.
Yeah, and then not making pump fakes, and that is foul number 4 for Tyler Karchner. He's talking with the refs, trying to understand why the whistle's getting blown so often when he's defending the shooter.
It's because he's tall.
He's
tall and bulky.
That's definitely the rationalization that a lot of posts tell themselves. And so with that, Karchner will get out of the game real quickly with Luke DeVore back in the game in his stead. And that's a frustrating thing because, again, we talk about the production of Tyler Karchner so far this year and the fact that he only got about 2 minutes in the first half, now barely about maybe 2 minutes in the second half, and he's already sitting again and not able to do much for his team for lack of fear of fouling out. So now a 13-point lead and taken away initially by Zach Blue. Zach Blue came in there. They're going to say that he fouled him as he tried to go for the ball, and he had nothing but open court in front of him. And we talked about his leaping ability during warm-ups. You just know that was going to be a slam dunk on the other end.
Yeah. Yep.
And, you know, I don't really care which team you're a fan of. You're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here. You know, dunks are always fun.
That's very true. When you get them, the crowd goes wild. It's just really fun.
Baker going up strong with left hand up and good off the glass. So the Knights finally getting some points on the board in this second half. Currently trailing in the second half 6-2. Here's Rowson. Trying to kick it out that time to Bates. And that call travel on Bates. And so far we talked about turnovers going into the second half. The Knights have yet to commit one. And we've seen a couple from Mary Washington. So the Knights kind of flipping the script so far in the second half. Pass inside to Baker. Going up, no good. And eventually fought for. Got 3-4 people around a jump ball. It'll go to the Eagles. I think fans were trying to say that Greg Rowson was out of bounds and he was trying to save the ball. We'll have a substitution for the Eagles and number 4, Dorian Davis. He will come in for Zach Blue.
Love the efforts of all 4 players who were flat out on the ground just now.
I mean, there were 2 Knights and 2 Eagles, so literally an equal effort to dive on the floor. You know, I mentioned several times in broadcasts where, you know, coaches, they'll have their players practice diving on the floor for the basketball and just kind of forgetting the fact that, hey, that's a hardwood floor, but you got to go get the ball. You know, you're going to get bruised elbows, bruised knees, bruised
Don't mind
hips.
the floor rash. It's fine.
Yeah, no, you're totally fine. I mean, you know, of course, volleyball players have to deal with that on a
That's
daily
very
basis.
true, yeah.
But again, I was telling Quinn earlier that there are 2 types of plays that make a old-style coach smile more than anything. Hard-fought rebounds and diving on the floor for loose ball.
I can attest for that. Not attest for it, but I agree. I agree with your statement.
There'll be some pessimists out there thinking like, oh, they just like putting their players through pain. No, they just love the effort and sacrificing themselves on the floor.
Some coaches, it's a little bit questionable.
Hey, that's definitely fair. That is definitely fair. But right now, the score standing 40-29 in favor of the Eagles so far. The Knights, again, having a hard time getting going scoring-wise. defensively so far, they've done pretty much everything that they've needed to. Had a couple of quick buckets from Matthias Prock. But offensively, again, we've talked about how they've had some good plays set up, good passes in the paint, not able to capitalize and get them to score. It's just, that's one thing that's frustrating. And so now, at this point, you kind of have to forget all of that, continue to make those plays, and trust that eventually those shots will fall. Here's McCravey. Getting it inside to Peterson. Kick out to Rowson. Good perimeter D from Southern Virginia. Switching on the screens briefly, or at least hedging. Shot clock winding down. McCravey kicking it out. Rowson for three. That's up and good with the foul.
Oh, no. That one hurt my soul. Hurt my soul a little bit.
What a great shot from Rowson. And DeVore is trying to figure out
what. The little fadeaway at the end.
Indeed. Sometimes you can kind of fool refs like that. I think there was a bit of contact, though, from DeVore trying to get the block. And now DeVore with 3 fouls on him. So, again, you already have Karchner with 4 fouls. Now DeVore with 3. And so you have your post players in a bit of foul trouble. And what's interesting is that you look at, you know, Kai Olsen. Kai Olsen's usually one you have to worry about as far as personal fouls is concerned. And so far, he's not really had those problems.
Maybe he's mellowed out over the years. We can only hope.
DeVore working against 2 defenders. He's going to get fouled. Yeah, Olsen right now only with 2 fouls to his name. Again, like I just said, it's usually the other way around where Olsen already has 4 fouls, or maybe at this point, and sometimes he's maybe fouled out at this point. Just a very good aggressive player. And now here's DJ Green.
If there's something about the McCrolla-Olsen family, it's they're aggressive players.
That's absolutely true. And DJ Green trying to hit Olsen on the pick and roll and taken away by the Eagles. Here's a 3 from Davis. That one's good. Davis now with 12 points. He's tied with Prock. So 47-29. And the Knights in dangerous territory here of letting this game get a little too far out of hand. Green, the jumper. A little bit of contact on the shot, but brought down by Rowson.
These refs have been getting hammered this game. I don't know if you've noticed. I feel bad for him. I think being a ref is one of the hardest jobs a person can do.
Indeed. I think we've had this conversation before where Davis knocks down another jumper, but, you know, coaching and reffing in sports are the most difficult jobs. Of course, you'll see TV producers, you know, claim they definitely have it, and they definitely have an argument for sure, but refs, like you said, they get the brunt of all the emotions from the crowd, whether it be negative or positive, and mostly negative, if we're being honest when it comes to refs. Olsen, jump shot, a little short. I'm going to call a travel here as Johnson was trying to corral it between his legs and he falls to the ground. Correct call there from the ref.
One of the players was trying to dispute it. He's like, no, that wasn't a foul, or that wasn't a travel. It's like, wait, have I learned basketball wrong?
Yeah, you can't really argue with that one.
You really can't.
And that's we'll have possession here. Trying to get in the paint. The Baker kicks it out to Olsen for 3. And fouled.
Sorry. My bad. I'm getting a little too into the game right now.
The foul's called on Greg Rowson. He's trying to argue. You know, Olsen was going to shoot, but he saw that Johnson was right there, and he was going to get the block. There's no doubt about it. And so he threw it to the ground, and it was, I believe it was tipped by an Eagles defender. And so they didn't call it a double dribble.
I mean, as long as if you throw it at a player, an opposing player, there's not really any rule against that.
Behind the back pass there from Baker to Weiland. Baker trying to get into the paint and no foul call whatsoever. A lot of contact. And Baker getting the ball up and in. What an insane sequence of events.
Wow.
My goodness.
Hello.
There was a lot of contact by about 5 or 6 different players on that play.
You know what that kind of looked like? Leapfrog. Like when you would play as like an elementary school person, that's what it looked like. It was just like fall, layup.
And Davis for 3. That's going to be no good. Brought down by Olsen. But again, a wild play, and the Knights able to come away with some points. a much-needed effort play from both Olson, Baker, pretty much everyone involved, going up for the shot, and he is fouled on the way up. We'll see who the foul is called on. I believe they're going to say it is on Rowson. That's Rowson's third. And now, Quinn mentioned this early in the first half, talking about how you have people like Karchner and Olson. You have to worry about them getting in foul trouble. But also for Mary Washington, if you're Southern Virginia, you want to get him in some foul trouble. Now that's exactly where you're at. Olson's free throw rattles in. Got a substitution for Rowson in the former number 24, Daniel Peterson. Peterson with 6 points so far tonight. And Sam Jex also checks into the game. Second free throw for Olson is good. The Knights playing a little full court defense, or at least showing it for a brief moment. Easing back as you have Drew Rowson. In the corner, entry pass to Johnson up. No good, but fouled on the way up. And, you know, as the game has gone on, the difference between the amount of free throws taken between these two teams it's grown as far as difference. You know, right now, so far before these free throws, the Eagles have taken 21, made 17 of them. And the Knights have attempted 9 and made 8.
Hey, that's a good stat.
I mean, percentage-wise,
Shooting,
absolutely.
yeah.
But as far as total attempts, I mean, Mary Washington now with 22 total attempts, making 18 of them. Number 23 on the way. And rattles in good. And, you know, that's 19 points right there. That's the almost basically the entire difference plus some between these two teams right now.
I think our team needs to learn how to act. You know, draw some fouls. Maybe they should go, we've got a theater program here. We just send them over there for a day.
Learn how to flop a little bit.
Exactly. That'll do it.
Yeah, I guarantee there are some guys that do practice that.
I bet they do. I was watching one of the girls' non-conference games, and it was funny. I was watching the other team warm up, and one of their warm-ups specifically was them passing to their coach, and coach tapping them with the ball, and they all just go whoosh on the ground. I was like, wow.
Indeed, they absolutely do that, and basket was good that time by Davis, who's kind of caught fire in this second half. Baker going inside, gets to Olson, who's double-teamed, trying to go up strong against Johnson. Eventually has to go up and try something. He'll get fouled on the way up.
There we go, Kai. Good acting. Good acting.
That foul is called on number 13, Drew Rowson, which is interesting because, again, Johnson's been the one heavily defending Olson there. Maybe they're saying that Rowson had grabbed him on the way up because Johnson's hands were straight up, but that is Rowson's first foul of the game. And the Knights find themselves down by 20 with just under 11 and a half left to go in this second half. I want to once again remind you that this game is brought to you by our official game sponsor, River Crossing Apartments. We also want to shout out our other athletic partners as well, all these being Buena Vista local businesses. You got River Crossing Apartments, like I previously just mentioned, Straws Drinks and Eats, Mill Creek Orthodontics, Cornerstone Bank, Papa John's, locally owned and operated, Vinyl Cuts, Katana, Sushi and Hibachi Express, and the Beeve Sweet Souvenirs, as well as Grace Automotive, where SVU students and staff can get 10% off their vehicle maintenance needs. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Athletics. Love the local businesses here in the beautiful town of Buena Vista, Virginia. And so right now, again, for me, the Knights have really whittled it down on turnovers. They've done a better job of taking care of the ball and fighting for loose balls, like we mentioned before. But again, getting to the free throw line has been the big difference. Again, that difference between these two teams, you know, getting to the free throw line, I mean, again, I mentioned Mary Washington, 23 attempts, and before these two free throws from Olson, 9 attempts for Southern Virginia. That's a difference of 14. Again, that's almost the entire differential in scoring right now, and if you make that up in the next 11 and a half minutes, you're in business. Olson's first free throw off the back of the rim, no good. As Olson's only second miss from the free throw line in today's game. Second one is up and good, able to make it count the second time. The Knights showing some more full court pressure here. Eagles able to get it to the middle of the court, which is exactly where we want to get it on the press. They did that once again with Peterson. So again, that experience for the Eagles coming in handy there as they are able to easily break the full court press.
Right. Didn't you mention to me earlier that these two teams are very similar in gameplay and stats? Did I
Going
get
to
that
this
right?
game, yeah, very
Okay.
similar as far as shooting percentage, amount of rebounds per game. Olsen with the rejection. My goodness. Coach Bevel's trying to argue that the shot clock expired as Olsen was blocking that shot. The refs are trying to come together and decide on if that is what happened. I think they're going to try to add on 1 second onto the shot clock.
Boo. Coach cracks me up.
Coach Bevel accurately saying they're going to try to lob it, and they do, and Jex able to take it away. Fantastic defense there from Southern Virginia, and again, Kai Olsen rising up for the rejection. Here's Green. Jex for three. Off the front of the rim, no good. Eventually brought down by McCravey. Jex has the one made three-pointer for Southern Virginia tonight, and it was right before halftime. I guess that's another area, too. I talk about attempted free throws. You know, the Knights are 1 for 14 from the three. Here's DJ Green. Advanced ahead to DeVore. Great pass. Kicks it out to Jex, who kicks it out to Baker. DeVore was well covered, and the ball was very low, and so he had to get rid of it. Green going baseline.
Ooh, that was pretty.
Jex short on the three-pointer and rebounded by McCravey. A good look and a great pass from Green. Jex just having to get rid of it, and a timeout called by the Eagles. We'll see some substitutions for both squads, including Greg Rowson, who will come back in after he had some early foul trouble, as well as number 12, Trey Pittman. And then Southern Virginia, we will see Everett Leifson. He'll see some more minutes here in the second half. He saw a couple minutes in the first. So now just under 10 minutes remaining. The Knights now down by 19. And you're approaching that time of the game where basically from this point on, everything has to go your way. You have to go up and get every rebound. You have to take high-quality shots and make those high-quality shots and really just play smart basketball from here on out. And now the only thing to that is that on the other side of the floor, you have another team that's very experienced and is also playing very clean basketball and knows full well what you as Southern Virginia need to get done in order to come back. And so again,
it's a good place to be in. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, very comfortable. You know,
Very.
it's like a warm, fuzzy blanket in the wintertime. That's exactly what that's like. But so far, again, it's been a fantastic game so far. Again, the score differential, I feel like doesn't tell the whole story. It's a 19-point game.
Right.
But it's been so physical the entire night, and no lack of effort on either side whatsoever. And again, looking at the leaders for both teams right now, Dorian Davis has kind of come alive along with Matthias Prock. You know, Davis has 15 points, Prock has 12, and then you also have Baker with 15 points, Olsen with 10. Baker still one rebound away from a double-double. Olsen with 4 rebounds, and then DeVore with 3. Again, he's provided some good relief minutes. Now at the ball is Zach Blue. Pass inside to Rowson. The floater just short. Rebounded by DJ Green, and Coach Bevel for Southern Virginia saying hold it, slow things down, let's get a play set and get as good of a shot as we possibly can. Trying to get a pick and roll here. DeVore for 3. Off the back of the rim, no good. Again, three-pointers just not falling for either men's or women's programs for Southern Virginia so far this season. and again, as a basketball fan, that can be incredibly frustrating, especially when today's game relies so heavily on the three-point shot.
Yep.
Great dump-off pass there to Trey Pittman for 2. Able to draw a defender and left Pittman wide open down in the paint. Baker gets it inside to Olsen. Olsen jump shot. And that's able to roll in off the back of the rim. And a timeout will be called by Southern Virginia. We will see Tyler Karchner check back into the game. He has 4 fouls, and so just under 9 minutes remaining, I guess Coach Bevel's saying, hey, let's just get as much out of you as we can before you end up fouling out.
Right.
That we're
I think
not-
that's a good idea.
Yeah, not
He's a
keep-
valuable player. Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, not keeping on the bench for too long and making sure that he gets his minutes, as well as, again, he's a tough rebounder. He's a good scorer. We haven't seen a whole lot of that tonight just because, again, each time he's been in,
Right.
I feel like as soon as he gets into the game, whistle's blown.
Yeah. I don't even.
That says it all right there. You know.
Yeah, there's not much to say. It reminds me a lot of when I was in high school and I was C team. You know, really, really awesome. No, but every time I would go in a game, this was consistently throughout the season. It would be 5 fouls within like 13 minutes. Because I was such a heated basketball player. I played with all of my emotions.
Hey, sometimes basketball players will wear that like a badge of honor.
I didn't. I got yelled at consistently by my coach.
And now the Eagles with the ball. Baker working defensively against Proc. Again, we mentioned Proc with 12 points so far tonight. Trying to get it into the paint against Leifson, the senior working against the freshman. Here's that three is good for Blue. That makes it 7 for 15 from the three. The Eagles now shooting close to 50% from the three-point line, trying to get it into Baker. The pass is just a tad late, so it goes out of bounds off of Baker.
See Koa getting nailed in the face just now.
And he's slowly getting off the floor.
Oh, I didn't even know he was still on the floor.
Oh, he was tying his shoe.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was like, wow. He must have really got nailed.
Again, Baker's one of those players, he gets hit a lot and draws a lot of fouls, able to get back up. Same thing with players like Olsen. Gets fouled all the time down in the paint. And again, there's a stereotype about basketball players not being tough. I think that's so heavily misplaced.
It's obviously the soccer players. Come on. Sorry.
Nah,
I don't know if you've seen that TikTok trend.
I have seen that TikTok trend. To all of our soccer players out there watching,
not personal.
It's a joke. The Knights with the ball now, trying to get it inside to Karchner and defended well by Pittman. Green crossing over into the paint, getting fouled, trying to get inside, and it was a good move. Ball behind the back on the dribble. Foul's on the floor, and Kai Olsen quickly coming back on the floor to replace Luke DeVore.
Media timeout.
Immediate timeout here with just under 7.5 remaining in this game. And one more time, we want to give a shout out to today's game official sponsor, and that is River Crossing Apartments. If you want independent living in a great and wholesome environment 1 block away from campus here at Southern Virginia University, contact River Crossing Apartments at rivercrossingva.com. We appreciate you. And River Crossing Apartments actually sponsored the halftime festivities here in the arena, which was the opportunity for students to, make a layup, free throw, and a three-pointer, possibly win a brand new TV.
I wanted to be there so bad.
Oh, I was tempted to sign up for that as soon as I saw that posted on the wall earlier this week. But unfortunately, no student was able to make all 3 shots and win the TV.
I think the furthest we got was a free throw. I don't think anybody even attempted a 3, did they?
It was slightly disappointing, not going to lie.
I'm just saying, when I was up there for the girls' basketball game halftime, I at least got my layup and my free throw in first try. So
hey, there you go.
I was just a little too short for the 3-point. I blame it on my shoes.
Indeed. And then, again, once again, thank you to River Crossing Apartments for sponsoring that and making that opportunity available to those who attended tonight's game. I believe they said the next time that'll be an opportunity will be in a men's volleyball game in the month of March. So a couple months away from people attending an SVU game here in Knight Arena, from having the opportunity to win a TV from River Crossing Apartments. Handoff to Olsen. And that 3 is up and good for Leifson.
Wow. Did he even look at that? Come on. That was just swoosh.
It was a quick release from Leifson and much needed. Only the second three-pointer made. The Knights now 2 of 18, shooting 11.1% from the three-point line. The other 3 made by Sam Jex right before half. And again, you're glad that three-pointer fell, but you're also frustrated that maybe a couple others didn't fall in at some point.
It's a good time. Hey, I mean, we're building our stats. We'll get there eventually.
And, you know, that's the thing with early in the season as that goes out of bounds, it'll be night basketball, is that, you know, there are teams that sometimes, you know, from out the gate, they shoot really well from the outside, and it kind of starts to wane a little bit as the season progresses. Then you have some teams that come out ice-cold shooting, and then as the season goes on, they get better and better. And, you know, for Southern Virginia, it just looks like the perimeter shot is just not going in so far, and that was foul on DJ Green. He was trying to kick it out, but he was double-teamed, and it got tipped away from him. Indeed, the foul will be called on DJ Green.
I don't know about you. Ref just called white 10. That's definitely gray. That is not white.
Indeed, the Knights rocking their gray unis tonight. It's a fan favorite uniform for the students here at Southern Virginia. It is one of my favorites. So I'm just going to make the assumption.
So it's a Dawson favorite.
I'm just making the assumption that if I like it, I'd imagine other people like it too.
That's fair.
Maybe that's a little arrogant. But regardless, the Eagles now with the ball on the outside. That is up, no good. Rebounded eventually by Leifson. Grants the head to Harris, who just came in for Green. 3 for Karchner. Off wide left. Not a great representation of what he's capable of from beyond the 3. I like the shot. He was open, and he wants to make an impact in the limited amount of minutes that he's had in this one. Floater up, no good. Tip, no good. Rebounded by Olsen. And knocked away. Rowson. 2-on-1 here. Peterson and Rowson.
Whoa! Did
Great.
you see that set?
It was basically a setter right there. Great work in the fast break by Rowson and Peterson. You can tell they've done that a time or two.
Yeah, that's the definition of fast hands right there.
Leifson for 3. Can he make it another? He cannot. Off the right side. Rebounded by Blue. Able to get inside. Peterson, quick kick out to the corner. Entry pass to Peterson again. Working against Karchner. And deflected by Leifson. Doing a good job of getting in the passing lane. We'll have a substitution here for Mary Washington. Number 2, Peter Goldberg, sophomore from Sarasota, Florida.
Florida.
One of the rare Floridians on either of these two teams' rosters.
Yeah, right. Do we even have anyone from Florida? Oh, yeah. Lamar Grant is from Pinellas Park, Florida. I think that's the only one, though.
Corner 3 here made by Peterson. Wide open in the corner.
I don't know if you're talking about states and you're like basketball.
Well, to be fair, I'm the one that brought it to the States. And Harris kicking it out here. Olsen quickly gets double teamed. Trying to pass it inside to Baker, taken away by Peterson. The wheels kind of falling off the wagon here for the Knights in the past couple minutes.
Looking a lot like our girls' game yesterday.
Indeed, the girls suffering their first loss of the season to the Eagles of Mary Washington, ranked number 22 in the nation. And it's one of those games where, like, at first the Knights were doing a good job moving their feet defensively and making the plays they needed to keep things close, but the second half just has kind of gotten away from them.
Right.
Leifson coming out, and we'll see DJ Green take his place back on the floor. You know, just kind of look at scoring-wise, comparing these halves. You know, first half it was 34-27. Southern Virginia keeping it within 7 points, making a 3-pointer right before the halftime. And then now showing the scoring, Mary Washington has 31 in this half, Southern Virginia with 12. Scoring-wise, things just kind of hit a wall, for lack of a better term. Inbounded to Johnson.
Hey. At least Tyler Karchner is still in.
Yep, indeed, not having that 5th foul yet. Eventually brought down. There's Baker's 10th rebound. Olsen going up, getting the foul call, and he'll go to the line. So with that rebound, Baker has 15 points and 10 rebounds. Again, able to add another double-double to his resume. But here's Olsen. First free throw is good. Olsen now with 13 points in today's game. And we'll see substitution on number 4, Dorian Davis. Second free throw rattles in, good for Olsen. make it 14. He is 1 point behind Baker in scoring for Southern Virginia. And the main thing, we talked about how the Eagles have spread it around as far as scoring is concerned. Southern Virginia, you have Baker with 15. And a great layup there for Johnson, able to make a play there.
The crowd's yelling because Kai maybe not had a hand on it. And they were like yelling at him, and Kai comes down the court just with a big smile on his face. It's like, you look a little guilty, Kai. I don't know.
Just knowing that he couldn't really do anything there on that play. And again, just looking at scoring right now, Baker with 15, Olsen with 14, and then the next leading scorers are Sam Jex and Everett Leifson with 3 apiece. And so there's a huge gap there between the leading scorers for Southern Virginia and basically the third man and fourth man up. Whereas again, we have 3 people in double digits for Mary Washington and 1 on the verge of double digits with Greg Rowson at 9 points so far. And it's one of those things where every team has their star players. Every team has their players that are going to get their baskets, they're going to get their rebounds. You have your Kevin Durant's or your LeBron James or your, Steph Curry's. Those guys are going to get stats. Right. But a lot of times the story, the headline will be, say Steph Curry scores 33 in victory over maybe the Pelicans or something. Mm-hmm. But what those headlines won't tell you is the backup cast coming in off the bench, making plays, making baskets, maybe getting about 8 or 9, 10 points.
Right.
Every co-player is getting a couple points. It just hasn't really worked out that way for Southern Virginia so far tonight. And again, it's just shooting has been very cold all around for the Knights of Southern Virginia. So the Knights inbounding it.
Slow game.
Trying to get inside to DJ Green, able to recover it. It is bounced out of bounds. Baker had passed it too far ahead as, you saw Green trying to curl around to the left side of the paint, and Baker thought he was going to cut out to the perimeter. So a little miscommunication there.
Sometimes I tell you as guards, try your best to be sneaky to the other team. Sometimes you're just so good, you're sneaky to your own team.
Yeah, that's very true. Another jumper made that time by Dorian Davis. Davis now with 17 on the game, and Karchner finally getting a bucket. The Knights able to finally get something going in the paint. Again, we talked about how limited amount of time that Karchner has had on the floor.
Sorry.
That'll be out of bounds. Last touched by number 22, Jay Randall, freshman forward from Bristow, Virginia. We're seeing a couple of players on the floor for the Eagles that we have not seen all night long, including number 2, Peter Goldberg. We saw him a little bit earlier, but as well as Randall, like I just pointed out. Mm-hmm. Olsen for 3. That's up and good.
Buckets.
Knights finally catch a little bit of fire shooting-wise, but all a little too late here. Working with it now is Dorian Davis, working against DJ Green. DJ Green doing a great job soloing him up defensively. Going up with the left hand, up and good is Trey Pittman. Pittman gets his second bucket of the night. And it's Karchner in the paint. Kicks it out to Olsen, goes for another 3. Off the right side, no good, rebounded by Pittman. Just over 2 minutes remaining. Baker flying in, trying to get the steal. A little too aggressive there, and he'll draw the foul.
Foul call on number 1, Koa Baker.
And we'll see, checking in for the first time tonight, number 45, Jake Wilson for Southern Virginia, and for the Eagles, number 23, Zion Grant. Wilson is a junior forward from Ryrie, Idaho. And then Grant is a 6'4" graduate senior forward from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Outside shot here. Short, no good. Gets his own rebound. Goes up, gets Wilson up strong, and Wilson will be called for the foul.
Foul call number 45, Jake Wilson.
And we'll see Everett Leifson check back into the game.
Shooting 2.
First free throw's up and good for Grant.
Checking in for the Eagles, number 11, Devin Johnson.
Leifson will come in for Koa Baker. And unless something changes, that'll be the end of Baker's night. Again, Baker finishing with 15 points and 10 rebounds. Most of his points coming in the first half when the Knights were able to rally and make it a little closer.
Yeah, I think maybe we got a little less self-confident in the locker room.
And a
Kinda
lot of
seems what
adjustments made by, Mary Washington able to, key in defensively. Here's Harris for 3. That's short and rebounded by Goldberg. But yeah, you could say that, coming out of the locker room cold and maybe losing a little bit of your confidence shooting-wise, and also when Mary Washington makes their adjustments and makes it extra hard to get back rolling offensively. And Green tipping it away. He's got Leifson across the way. He's going to float it up off the back of the rim. No good. Green for the rebound. Trying to go up strong with it.
Hey, there we go. Did you see that? That was cool.
Over the top of his head, a little hook shot in the air. Fantastic shot from
He said,
Green.
watch, I'm not even going to look.
A little highlight play there for Green here in the final minute. Got some more players checking in for Southern Virginia, including Luke DeVore, as well as number 2, Ben Cullum. Be the first one we've seen him tonight. And inside, and Johnson. There it was goaltending as he hung on the rim and it allowed the ball to roll in, and that is the correct call.
Can't do that.
Indeed, you cannot.
I was going to say, you're on there for a little longer than you should be, buddy.
Indeed, and that's, again, we kept saying earlier that dunks are always exciting regardless of which team has it, and Johnson nearly had it right there, just didn't quite get the lift that he wanted. And again, we mentioned Ben Cullum coming in the game for the first time, freshman from Arlington, Virginia. Leifson trying to get rid of it. Across the way to DeVore. Goes baseline, tries to kick it out, gets fouled on the way up. 13 seconds left on the shot clock.
Number 23, Zion Grant.
He's out there chewing gum. I just realized that, number 23.
To the line. Shooting 2.
It's like Steph Curry with his mouthpiece in the
Yeah.
NBA. He got us something to chew on, focus on. Zion Grant is called for the foul. That's his first. Here's DeVore. Free throw rolls out, rebounded. Strong rebound by Johnson. Really came flying in there. 20 seconds left. There is no shot clock. And the Eagles will more than likely just hold on to it, play a little keep away, and let this thing come to a close. Nearly had it taken away. And the last seconds will tick away as the Eagles come away with this one victorious 73-48 over the Knights of Southern Virginia. The Knights will fall to 3-4 on the year, and the Eagles will advance to 5-2. And so a lot of things to learn from this. In the first half, you really battled physically, did a great job of fighting for rebounds and trying to get some good quality shots. Just, again, the wheels kind of fell off the wagon in the second half. Some fatigue came in there. It's hard to play defense that intensely for that long of a game against a team that is just so good at moving the ball quickly. And that's one thing that stayed consistent for Mary Washington, is that the guy in the hands of one player, quickly gone. Quickly passed away, screen away, or cut away. And so credit to Mary Washington for playing a fantastic game. Once again, you have Dorian Davis with 17 points, and you also have Matthias Prock with 14. And then for Southern Virginia, Olsen ended up leading the way in scoring with 17 points and 5 rebounds, with Baker just behind it with 15 points and 10 rebounds.
Nice.
And so a lot to learn from this one. The Knights now fall to 3-15 all-time against Mary Washington. Mary Washington has historically dominated this rivalry and done a great job at just asserting their dominance. But again, Southern Virginia has a long road trip ahead of them. Looking at their schedule coming up, they do not have a home game here in Knight Arena until the 6th of January.
Oh, yikes.
A whole month away from Knight Arena. And so, again, wanted to relish this as much as possible. They had a great turnout with students here, creating a lot of great noise, made it very competitive in the first half especially. But again, you now have a long road trip ahead of you. You have the holidays coming up. And so, again, getting rested up and then trying to get as many wins on the road as you possibly can because, again, those are going to add up. And you have 2 conference games at the beginning of the new year with North Carolina Wesleyan on January 3rd at North Carolina Wesleyan. And then Brevard College, which is the game that is here on January 6th of 2024. 2024 is almost upon us, folks.
That is weird.
It is wild
That
to
is
say.
odd.
Indeed, it is odd. But what was not odd was the competitiveness of this game. Again, the final score being 73-48 in favor of the Eagles. Once again, I'm Dawson Weidrich alongside Jade Siemens. We appreciate you all watching this presentation of Southern Virginia Athletics here on Knights Broadcasting. We hope you have a great night and a great holiday season as well, and go Knights.